Shalom, Havarim from the heartland of Israel. It's already a week ago that we met and we talked about Hoshana Rabbah. We just celebrated Yom Kippur, and Hoshana Rabbah was the last day of the cycle of judgment. And we're now really in the new year, in the new cycle. We were before the Chagim, we were learning together from Mesilat Yesarim, the path of the just, and that is where we will continue now. We did 8 lessons already from Mesilat Yesarim, and the last thing we talked about was cleanliness and social norms. And let's take off from there and let's learn together. So we talked about already that in social norms, it's very important to stay clean in your behavior and how you treat somebody else. We must know, first of all, that in the eyes of Hashem, we are all equal. Yes, we have different functions. Yes, we have different tasks. So we should respect each other and we should honor our leaders. But as human beings, we are all equal. And we should treat each other also equal. We cannot use words to punish someone. That's called verbal abuse, or we cannot give misleading advice. We cannot act with hatred and vengeance. And lying is also one of those things in social norms that is not allowed. We must know that lying is not only telling that something that is not true, because the matter of fact, I had a friend a long time ago that taught me that some people consider a lie only if somebody finds out. So there are people that say you can lie, you can make up stories, not telling the truth, and as long as nobody finds out, it's okay. But that is a distortion of the truth. That is not what Hashem says. Hashem doesn't say you can sin and you can lie and you can do whatever you want as long as nobody finds out, it's okay. No, Hashem says it's not okay. We cannot lie. We cannot treat each other in a wrong way. We cannot make somebody else feel badly about himself or about his behavior. We cannot be jealous of each other. We cannot try to take something from somebody else that is not yours, although maybe the person doesn't know you are taking it. Or maybe he does, and you're saying it's yours, while it's not yours. All those things are considered not okay, are considered a sin. But like I said, also embarrassing other people is considered as a sin. So for example, if you and I are in a group with other people and somebody does something wrong, you can, for example, say, so how can you embarrass somebody else? Well, let's say you're in a group and you know that somebody else does something wrong. You can correct him in the group, and then he or she will feel very embarrassed. And that's not the way. So what will you gain? You will gain respect from the other people. Well, that's not real respect. Other people will say you're very wise, because you corrected somebody in the group, that's not okay. You hurt people by it. I once did it. I once corrected somebody in the group, and that person felt very, very embarrassed by it. I hurt his feelings, not only me personally hurt his feelings, but I hurt the feelings of other people also. And he felt ashamed, not only because of what I said, but he felt ashamed of what the other people were hearing and maybe were thinking. And that's really not okay. That's really not okay. So if you already feel that you should correct somebody about something, it should be something that you yourself have no problems with. You should have the authority to say something to somebody else. And if not, you should keep your mouth shut. And if you do it in private. And do it carefully. Mention that you maybe saw something or maybe heard something and that you think it's not okay. And then the other person can think about it and can change it or cannot change it. But he won't be embarrassed by it because you're sharing your thoughts with respect with the other people, and you give the other one the opportunity to think about it if he or she agrees with it, that what you're saying is like you said, and if not, it's okay. We should give each other space to grow in our character, to grow in our ethics, to grow in our Mussar. And although we are talking about, well, I'm giving the example of correcting somebody, we're talking about embarrassment. And Mussar, learning Mussar, what we are doing, is precisely not listening for the other one or thinking about the other one. Learning Mussar is thinking about yourself and correcting yourself, to inspect your inner self and look to your own character and see what you can change in the eyes of Hashem, what you can do differently, what you can understand differently, how you can treat each other differently. We should never listen or learn or read in order to use it against somebody else. Always when you listen to a shiur, always when you learn Torah, the first and maybe the only person for whom you are doing it is for yourself. And that must be enough. So what we also, the example which we talked about last time was if somebody is about teshuvah, so he returned and he's now on the good path, on the path of the just, like you and I. And you should not and you cannot remember him or her of her or his past. That is behind us is no longer relevant to talk about. Your old life, your former life, when you did not live according to Torah. We should not remember each other by that. When you yourself are talking about yourself, you want to give an example like I just did, that's okay. But I am not allowed to remember somebody else of his past. We always are living in the now, in the present. And we're treating our own character, we're building and changing our own character in the now. So in Pirkei Avot 3:11, it says, he who publicly embarrasses another has no share in the world to come. And that's really serious. No share in the world to come? Okay. We will stop immediately. You and I, we will stop embarrassing other people. We don't do it anymore. Okay? Rashi said, for one who has been verbally abused and cries out, the gates of prayer are not sealed. We embarrass somebody and he shouts out to Hashem. Hashem will listen to his or her prayers. And what will be the result for you, the one that has embarrassed somebody else? There will be no blessing. On the contrary. So let's stay away from it. We should actively stay away from all those situations where we can sin, where we can harm other people, where we can hurt somebody else. So we don't shame about somebody else, we don't embarrass somebody else, we don't rebuke somebody else, and certainly not in the group. And when we give advice, we can only give advice in areas where you yourself already have been strong, where you already have been conquered that area. And we cannot place obstacles for a blind man, says in Vayikra 19. So if you know that somebody else is blind, spiritual blind for some area in his life, and you give him advice, telling him what is wrong and he should change it, but he doesn't understand, it's like putting an obstacle in front of a blind man. Somebody first has to have sight, have understanding, does need to have knowledge about what is a stumbling block before him, and only when he understands, then somebody is able to change. That's why we learn together, Mesilat Yesarim, to understand the different kinds of sin, the different kinds of character traits, and how we should change, and why it is important to change, and what is the effect of change. And when we understand all that, then we also are motivated to change, and we will be strong. If you change just because I am saying so, it will not last. In 1 week or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, you will fall back to your own behavior, and there's nothing changed actually. So you should try to understand and learn about what we are speaking about right now and apply it to your own life from within yourself. If you understand, then you are able to change. Then you find and have the motivation to do so. Okay, so the prohibition of slander. Slander is talking bad things about somebody else on purpose. You know that what you're saying are causing a bad name for your fellow friend. And why should you do that? To make yourself look better? To make him or her look worse? There's no benefit. Well, you may feel it's a benefit to talk badly about somebody else, but in the end, there is no benefit. It will not help you to reach the Olam Haba. So our evil inclination has many methods, and every word of you and I that can lead to harm somebody else, to embarrass somebody else. Whether he is there or he is not there, it is slander. It is as if you are talking badly about Hashem Elokeinu himself. It says in Tehillim 101, verse 5, he who slanders his neighbor in secret, him I will cut down. So Hashem, if you slander, if you talk badly about somebody else, Hashem is taking those words of you as if you were talking bad about Hashem, and Hashem will correct us for it. So we stop immediately talking badly about somebody else. Yes, but it is true. Okay, but just because something is true, that doesn't mean we are allowed to speak badly about somebody else. It's immediately Lashon Hara. Yes, but I want to warn other people. Well, is it your job to warn other people? No? Okay, so don't tell. Yes, but I want, let's give another example. I want to protect other people. Well, is it your job to protect other people? Well, if it's a matter of life or death, okay. If you really, really know that, okay. But if not, just don't talk badly about somebody else. It's better if you know that if you know things about somebody else because you've seen it, or and you better don't talk about him or her at all. Just don't mention it. Leave it as long as nobody is hurt. We so much justify a lot of times what we are doing, what we are talking about, what we are saying, that we are no longer able to discern what we can talk about and what we cannot talk about. Well, let me tell you, we have enough to talk about ourselves. We have enough to work on ourselves, to work on our own character. We have enough to change ourselves, to become better persons, and to stay on the path of the just. So put your energy in yourself and not in somebody else, because we are not on this world to change other people. We are on this world to change ourselves in accordance to Torah, so that we will become better servants of Hashem. We also must refrain from hatred, vengeance, and bearing a grudge. If somebody has done something terrible against you, or somebody talked badly about you, not you about somebody, but somebody about you, it's very easy to start hating that person. So you're not doing the same, and you're not saying things back to him, and you keep your mouth shut and you let it be. But down deep in your heart, you're angry. You're feeling the hatred. And deep, deep down in your heart, you want to hurt the other person back for what he or she did to you. Well, that is exactly what is igniting our Yetzer Hara within us. And our Yetzer Hara, our evil inclination, will hold us back from the truth, will hold us back from a healthy relationship with Hashem, will hold us back to change our own character for the better, while we're walking on the path of the just, Mesilat Yesarim. So in order to stay healthy, to think healthy, to talk healthy, to feel healthy, we should stay away from situations, and our mouth should stay away from situations where we enter into hatred or vengeance or bearing a grudge. In Vayikra 19, it says, you must not hate your brother in your heart. You must not take revenge, nor harbor a grudge against the members of your people. If we all start forgiving each other, if we all just work on ourselves, and if we all always think the best of everybody else, immediately our congregation, our kehillah, our friends, our circle of friends, everything will change. Why will everything change? Because you change. If you change, eventually the situation and the people around you will change. So there's an intermediate in not hate somebody else, not take revenge. That is that our evil inclination can deceive ourselves. So maybe you hate somebody else because he said something terrible about you. But because of what we're talking today, you decide not to hate him anymore. But then your evil inclination kicks in. You get that thought, okay, I will not hate him because I learned not to hate other people. But nobody tells me to be kind to him. So I just ignore him. Well, just the fact that you decide to find another way, not to sin, but also not to bless him, is immediately already going astray from the path of the just. It's not working on your own character again, because the next time he or she comes to you and nothing the matter, just wants to talk with you, but you are still feeling the hatred within you, but you don't want to feel the hatred within you, so you try to ignore him. So you think, if I don't have contact with him and if I don't talk with him, then and if don't be friends with him, then it's okay, then everything will go away. That's not how it works. Well, first of all, of course, if you talk badly about somebody else, and you should ask forgiveness to the person, to Hashem. So what if the other guy or girl or man or woman already asked forgiveness and changed his character, and he comes to you and he says, sorry, I should not have said that about you, I should not have done that against you. But you keep walking around with your hatred. You keep walking around with your hurt and negative feelings. Well, I tell you, the other person is absolved. He sought forgiveness. He changed his way. He doesn't do it anymore. And you are still angry or hurt. Well, then, if we are feeling hurt and if we are still angry because something happens, then you and I have homework to do. Then we should change. You should change yourself. And you should enter into a conversation with Hashem and let him cleanse you and let him change you. And you yourself make the decision to change. Don't stay with hatred and vengeance. A totally different area is cleanliness. We're talking about the specifics about the virtue of cleanliness and cleanliness in our body, but we're mainly talking about cleanliness in our behavior, in our character. And one of them is also in the area of oaths. If you take an oath, it's like swearing, so like saying, I promise, or that I shall do, or I promise to speak the truth in the name of Hashem, in the name of heaven. Well, oaths are very heavy. If you take an oath and you don't comply to the oath, if you misuse the oath, or if you lie anyway, or if you take an oath but accidentally did do wrong or speak wrong, you not only hurt yourself or the other person, but by taking an oath, you're sinning against heaven. You're sinning against Hashem. So Hashem says, let your yes be a yes and let your no be a no. That should be enough. But even then, you should be careful in what to promise and what to not promise. To what you and to which you say yes and to which or what you say no. Because if you make a promise, even if it is a small promise and you don't keep your promise, while it's not an oath, like sinning against heaven, you still didn't comply to your promise. You should think about it, that when you say yes to something, that you should do it. You cannot say yes just so that the person feels peace and you buy yourself some time and he comes back after a week, you promised me, you said yes, you will do it. Yes, I totally forgot. Yes, I really wanted to do it. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, yes, I will do it this week. And another week goes by, you don't do it, and he comes back. Then you just are using your yes and your promise to create more time, to avoid the problem, to avoid the situation. But if you don't have time to do something, or you're not willing to do something, you just say no. Just say, okay, I cannot do it. Or don't promise something if you cannot do it. And also, if you promise not to do something, let's say you will say to me, I promise you, Ishai, I will never sin again. Well, that's quite a promise, because you and I know we cannot keep that promise. Well, you have to strive to keep that promise, but you and I will not be able to keep that promise because we, as human beings, sometimes make mistakes. Oh, I promise I will never hurt your feelings again. Well, can you keep that promise? No, don't make that promise. If you hurt somebody's feelings in your talk with somebody else, and you say you're sorry, you say, I try never to do it again. But if you say, I promise never to do it again, it's already almost an oath. And if you say, by heaven, I promise, or I swear I will never do it again, then you're making a promise by the name of Hashem. And breaking a promise you made with the name of Hashem. Although you maybe even didn't take the name of Hashem in your mouth. But if we make an oath, it's so heavy, you must be sure whether to do something like that or not. Better not to make an oath. Better not to make promises which you cannot keep. Be reasonable. Somebody wants something from you, you say, okay, I will try. I want to, I will try. I will put effort in it. But don't say, I promise you tomorrow I will be ready. Tomorrow it will be done. I will never do it again. Because your own words can be a weapon against yourself. Let's be careful which words we use and how we promise things and how we agree on things and how we decide not to do things. So about lying. Again, I think earlier today we talked about lying, and one or two shiurim before we also talked about lying. There is a strange concept about lying that is not called lying. It's accepted by certain people and certain groups of people, but it is still lying. You remember what I talked about? You remember what we learned? Lying is saying one thing that is not true. It doesn't matter if the person across you, across the table, across the person you're talking with you, who you are talking, knows you are lying or don't know you are lying. That's not relevant if the other person knows or does not know you are lying. The moment you tell something that is not true, you're lying. The moment you do something that's not okay, you're sinning. So lying is sinning. Whether the other guy, the other woman knows or not knows, whether you're, yes, but he doesn't know, and he's not hurt, and I'm not robbing him, and he will never know, and I will protect such and such. You're not allowed to lie. Well, yes. If you can save somebody's life, if you know that somebody wants to kill somebody, and the person is hiding in your house, and the bad guy comes by and he said, "Is that person in your house?" Of course, if you say yes because you don't want to lie, the other person will die. So you don't do that. It happened in World War II, and in many other situations. People that were hiding Jews in their house also didn't want to lie. And when the enemy, when the soldiers, when evil persons came at the door, they didn't want to lie, and they admitted, yes, I'm hiding Jews in my house. That's how many of our ancestors got killed, because they thought, even in that situation, they should tell the truth. Well, to preserve a life, yes, it's the only situation in which you can, let's say, lie, let's say, deceive the enemy. But just in regular situations like you and I, nothing to do with war or whatever, with killing people, just normal situations, you are not allowed to lie in non-situation. We have to be able to speak the truth. We have to do business speaking the truth. We have to build relationships speaking the truth. And if the truth is too hard for you, don't speak at all. Speak about something else. But we cannot lie. There are levels of lying. The worst level of lying is that somebody knows he is lying and explicitly lies, and it's like a second nature to him lying. Every time he talks with somebody, he makes up things and he changes the stories and he changes the facts, willingly lying to make himself look better, to herself better, to gain something by it, whatever. It's the severe way of lying, is on purpose lying again and again and again. People that do that, they cannot come out anymore. It's like the web of a spider. Your lies are making a web, and you get stuck in it yourself. And you're covering one lie with another lie, with another lie, with another lie, and balagan, big mess. Then we have those people that tell the truth, but they make the truth look better. So let's say yes, I have to find an example, but it are those small lies. So you can in which you make yourself look better. Like you're talking with somebody, he says, how many languages do you speak? For example, you ask me, how many languages do you speak? And then I say, okay, English, Spanish, Hollandisch, Ivriet, Alemán, Francais. I speak 6 languages. While the other person will be amazed. 6 languages. Wow, you must be intelligent. Yes, I'm intelligent. Ho, ho, ho. Let's rewind the situation. I speak Dutch fluently, and I can read Dutch. It's my mother tongue. I can, my English is good, not as perfect as Dutch, but it's good. My Spanish is good, but certainly not as perfect as English or Dutch. I understand a little German, and I know a few words of French. And Ivriet, I'm still learning at the Ulpan. Right, something in my eye. But in order to look good, I just say I speak 6 languages, but that's not the truth. Knowing a few words in German is not knowing a language. It's not speaking a language. So if I really want to tell the truth, I say, okay, I speak 3 languages, Dutch, English, and Spanish. I can manage in those 3 languages. But in the other languages, I should not say I know a lot about it. Today, somebody asked me how many languages I speak. I said, well, I speak 3 languages and I understand a little German. So I told the truth. I didn't say I speak German, I can manage in German, I can write fluently in German. No, I understand a little bit German. You know why? Because a lot of German words are equal to Dutch words. So that's why I understand them. Nothing more, nothing less. We should not mix the truth with small lies in order to make ourselves look better. And then we have the sporadic liars, the third category. Okay. every now and then, he or she will lie. Just a small lie, because it suits the situation. There are people that say, small lies doesn't hurt. But even small lies hurt. And we should not do it. There are people that tell lies, but they do it in a joke. They make a joke about it. And everybody is laughing. But everybody is thinking, there must be something truth in this joke, because why otherwise he is telling this? But there was no truth. You were just mixing in a small lie to make the people like you. So, the wisest of all men has instructed us that all of this is contrary to the will of the Creator. Who was the wisest among all men? Shlomo HaMelech. Shlomo the king, the son of David HaMelech. Hashem gave him wisdom. He was the wisest man on earth. And he said, we should not lie and do things that are contrary to the will of the Creator. How can we learn the will of the Creator? How can we work on our own development, our character development? How can we change? How do we know what to do and what not to do? Well, learning together with me, Mesilat Yesarim, and learn Torah. The main thing is learning Torah. You can learn Torah by reading the parasha of the week and studying together about the parasha of the week, reading Rashi, Ramban, other commentaries, Rav Hirsch. You can study Mishnah, you can study Talmud, you can study Mussar, you can study other books, as long as it is about Hashem, about Torah. Then you're working on yourself. And it keeps you away from hatred, vengeance, telling big lies or small lies, embarrassment, embarrass other people, hatred. You have to actively, we have to actively move ourselves away from all those things that create a distance between us and Hashem Elokeinu, our Creator. Everything that is contrary to the will of the Creator, those are the things we should stay away from, physically and also here. Mishlei 13 says, the righteous hate false words. Do you consider yourself a righteous man or woman? Do I consider myself a righteous man? Well, I'm not perfect. I made mistakes. Should I call myself righteous? I don't know. But I would like to be a righteous man. I would like to be considered an honest man, an honorful man, a nice guy, one who seeks the truth, one who loves other people and wants to help them. So I keep away from all those other things. I stay away from false words. And I hated false words, so I won't do it. For example, today, well, my neighbor next door, he is building a new house. The old house he has tear down, and he's constructing a new house. and it gives dust, and it gives noise, and all other kinds of, you can imagine. And already a few times, also today, somebody was asking me, what do you think about all this balagan, all this mess, all this dust, all this noise, all this constructing going on just a few meters from your house? Does it bother you? It's very easy for me to say, yes, it bothers me. It's very easy for me to say, oh, that dust, I hate it. It's very easy for me to say, to talk badly about the neighbor, not only about the situation, but about the neighbor. But that's not how Hashem wants it to be. My neighbor is blessed. Hashem blessed him, and he has the opportunity to build a new house. Should I take away his happiness? Of course not. Should I be bothered by the dust or by the noise? No, of course not. When I have the opportunity, I will also build. I have to be happy for him, and I am happy for him. And I am looking forward to the house he is building because I think it will be beautiful. And I'm curious about how beautiful it will be and what color it will have and how many rooms it will have and if it will be square or round or high or low. But you have to actively seek for the positive. So those few times already that people ask me about it, I felt the tension and I felt the negative implication of the question, but I didn't fall for it. I decided to stay positive, and I mean it. And because I am positive, I'm okay with it. I'm happy with what is happening next door. And Bezrat Hashem, next time it will be me. It's just how you look to the situation, how you want to talk to other people, how you want to talk about other people positively. It's my decision, and it is your decision to work on our own character development. And for me, this is character development. My neighbor building a new house, that's working on my character. It's the opportunity Hashem gives me to work on my character. And in the same way, he gives you opportunities where you can see it as problems, but you can also see it as opportunities, situations and things that Hashem allows to happen in your life so that you can work on your own character. And that's what's happening in my life. Situations and conversations with other people that allow me to work on my own character. You have to see the hand of Hashem. So those people that are asking or implying with their questions some negative ideas or thoughts, do I now talk bad about them? No, also not. Because they're also in their process. And maybe because of what I said about myself, I bless them also. And maybe they thought about after it themselves and they changed. Or maybe they didn't have a negative implication with, didn't intend a negative implication with their questions, and they were sincere and honest, and I was positive, and everybody is positive. It's just how you look to situations and think about situations, how you handle it. And if you are open and prepared to go for the truth, and the truth is not always what you think is good. The truth is what Hashem says, that's the truth. So, is it good for me to have a lot of dust here? No. is it the truth that there was not anymore, but that for a few weeks there was a lot of dust here because of the construction going on? Yes. Did it hurt my feelings? No. Was it good for me? Well, no. Was it bad for me? Also, no. It's not about good and bad. It's about the truth. But the truth is there was dust and I cleaned it. And the truth is there will be a beautiful building. That's all. We have to learn to look at situations and people through the eyes of Hashem, through the truth of Torah, through Mesilat Yesarim, the path of the righteous. If you want to be a righteous, work on yourself. If you walk on the path of the righteous, look to other people as also being and wanting to be righteous. And everybody is in his own time and place and space of his life. And together, we will be able to become better people. Great. We will continue. We just slightly talked about distancing oneself from falsehood, so staying away from the situations where you know that it will be negative or false for you, and looking for the truth and make sure your mouth is speaking the truth. And that's where we will end. And we're now on page 75. I will close with Yeshayahu 16. It says, the throne will be established with benevolence, and he will sit on it through truth. Indeed, they are my nation. Israel is the nation of Hashem, my sons, who will not lie. And Zechariah 8, verse 3, Yerushalayim will be called the city of truth. Great. Next week, we will continue in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. And in 2 weeks' time, we will have another shiur about Mesilat Yesarim. But I think we have a lot of homework by what we learned today. Put it into practice. And until next time, bye-bye, Leitraot, Shabbat Shalom, and stay healthy and be healthy in these times of virus, etc. Okay, bye-bye, Leitraot.